Taxes. So state lawmakers right now are in the negotiation stage. They're trying to reach a compromise on a spending plan for the next 2 years. And one of the big differences that they're dealing with is how to iron out our tax cuts. Now, they've already agreed to cut income taxes next year by 0.25%, but the Senate wants an even bigger tax cut the year after that. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie shows us what's at stake.
What would you do with an extra $186 in your pocket every year? Well, that's how much the average taxpayer would save under a Senate tax cut proposal in 2027. But economists warned the state may not be able to afford that. For the average taxpayer making $50,000 a year, the Senate plan would mean an extra $186 a year. That's about $15.50 a month. To a dad like Carrie Thomas, every dollar helps. What could you do with $186 a year?
Probably groceries or something like that, but no money is free money.
It would not be free money. The cut would mean the state would give up about $2 billion a year, or just over 5% of its budget. The budget experts who work for state lawmakers say that would leave the state with a budget shortfall. Unlike the federal government, North Carolina cannot have a deficit, so there would likely need to be some cuts to government services like schools and roads. Thomas doesn't like the sound of that.
I know that there's a lot of trouble with the Department of Education right now, and I've got 2 little ones, so I'm team education.
Republican Senate leader Phil Berger doesn't believe the economic forecast. He thinks the state will grow faster than economists say, and any money the state doesn't need should go back to taxpayers. But Democratic Senator Natalie Murdoch says the state does need that money.
That's $2 billion we could use to preserve Medicaid expansion, to provide more relief out west, to support education.
There's also the threat of cuts to federal funding as President Trump looks for ways to pay for federal tax cuts. Environmental engineer Matthew Upperly works with a lot of people in government. He says $186 a year would be nice, but
I'd prefer to keep the services intact. If there's going to be more uncertain funding coming from the federal government for certain services, I think I personally would prefer to keep sort of the state budget more stable.
That's the thinking among state House Republican leaders as well. They want to put any future tax cuts on hold for right now. They'll have to come to some compromise with Senate leadership to come up with that final budget deal. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, Raleigh.